Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for being here today. Today's video is going to be my June wrap-up, which, let me just give you just a taste. We've got quite a little stack here, and I'm really excited to talk about these books with all of you. First, let me just ask you, what was the best book you read in June? But follow-up question, was it a book you've had your eye on for a long time and you finally got around to? Or was it a brand new find, like you had never really heard of it until June and you picked it up on a whim and you ended up loving it? Because I've got a few of each on this list. Some I had had my eye on for a long time, others I didn't find until this month. And one was a love at first sight book cover, which we will get to soon. But yeah, let me know what your favorite book of June was, and let's just jump right in. Let's get into the books that I read in June. Very exciting, and also lots of really great covers. So the first one that I read this month was Felix Ever After. This was on my May TBR, then I pushed it to my June TBR, and I'm so glad I read it right away in June, because it was quite the start to such a good month of reading. This book is about a guy named Felix who feels like he is, hold on, this quote is really good. Felix also secretly fears that he's one marginalization too many, black, queer, and transgender, to ever get his own happily ever after. And you follow Felix through his last year of high school before he goes off to college, and he is going for a really good scholarship to get into the college of his dreams. And so through that, you're following him in high school. Some pretty terrible things happen to him in high school and people not accepting him for who he is, while he's also exploring the feelings of first love, the feelings of confusion and heartache, and I just thought it was really, really good. I will also say that the author did a perfect job at capturing the high school essence of like stress and confusion and drama and, you know, just tension and fear, and I felt like the author did such a great job with Felix and like Felix going through these things and not really knowing how to deal with them because he's a teenager and he's trying to figure out just like how to do things. So I really, really liked this book, and I'm so glad I read it. Next up, we have a short story collection. I told you all that I've been really into short story collections, and we're batting 3 for 3 because this is the third one I've read in the last couple of months, and I adored it. I thought it was so good, and that is Sabrina and Karina. I'm not going to go into every story, but I do want to tell you some of my favorites, and if you've read this collection, please let me know what your favorites were as well. The first story, Sugar Babies. So good. So good. The second one, Sabrina and Karina, devastating, haunting, but very, very good. All Her Names, Ghost Sickness, which is the last story, impeccable, so good. It was just such a great collection of stories, and again, I've talked about why I love short story collections so much lately, and I really do feel like it's people watching. It's that you get this glimmer of a character story. You don't get the full novel. You just get a glimmer of them, and you're getting just this tiny chapter of what they want to share with you. And I just thought it was fantastic. So loved this so much and highly recommend it. So the next book I read this month was Something to Talk About, which is a romance that takes place in Hollywood and has a lot of gossip and a lot of scandal. It's about two women that work on the same television show. We have Jo, who is the producer and director, I think. Definitely producer, I think also a director, but she is a killer producer. She is awesome at her job. She's gotten so many awards, and she's just fantastic at what she does. And then she has her assistant, Emma, and Emma's a great assistant. The two of them go on a red carpet one day. While they're on the red carpet, they tell each other a joke, and they have this like funny moment, but then it's captured on camera, and it looks like they're flirting or that they're already dating. So then the rest of the novel is about the two of them navigating their own feelings, trying to figure out the other person's feelings, and then also dealing with all of this Hollywood tabloid drama. So I really liked it. I will say Joe's character is awesome. Emma's character was fantastic at being romantically immature, so the author did an awesome job at that, but she was also a really frustrating character for me because she was jumping to conclusions without all of the information, but then she would just stay mad about it. Like she wouldn't really let Joe explain herself or apologize, and it felt like a lot of the book was Emma holding grudges against Joe. So, I mean, that definitely added to the dramatic aspect of the book, so if that sounds interesting, you might have a blast with it, but there were moments where I was like, Emma, can you like just let Joe explain herself? Because she has a great explanation, but it felt like Emma was sometimes purposefully misunderstanding Joe. So, yeah, do with that information what you will. I think it's worth the read. The audiobook was also pretty good, so yeah, I'm glad that I read it. It was on my June TBR, and I stuck to it. Speaking of my June TBR, the next book that I read was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Wowza. Let me just say this. This was one of my most anticipated books for 2021 because I really loved The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. But when I read the synopsis, I didn't think I was gonna love it. Like, I really wanted to read it, but I was like, okay, it's just about like these four siblings that like live on the beach. Like, sounds fun, but I don't think I'm gonna love it, and boy was I wrong. I really, really loved this one because of how much drama happens in it. So much about sibling dynamics is discussed and explored in this book. There are four siblings, and so you get a lot of perspective from the older siblings, or the older sibling, and then some from the middle siblings, and then, you know, some from the youngest one. And so just from there, you're kind of watching the four of them and how they move through life, which just in general was really fun. But then there's also so much drama and hurt to unpack from their past. Overall, I thought it was really great, and after I read this book, you will see a huge uptick in summer coastline beachy vacation books because of how much I loved the setting of this one. So loved the beach talk, loved the surfing, loved that it all took place on the coast. The ending was a little twisty, but overall I think I loved this just as much as Seven Husbands, just in a very different way. And the sibling conversations were just so impeccable. So I really enjoyed this one. All right, the next book that I read was, I mean, first, as I said, after Malibu Rising, I started reading more beachy, vacation-y themed books, and this one is that, like, quintessential coastline, Italian summer type of book. But also, it was a book that I felt absolute love at first sight with a book cover. I'm gonna show it to you in just a second, and you might see this book cover and go, don't really care, not my favorite. But I'm telling you, this is my favorite book cover I own. And if I ever get asked in the future, what's your favorite book cover? This is the one I'm gonna think of because of how perfect I think it is. And that is Lizzie and Dante. Wow, just take a moment. I mean, again, if you don't think it's the best, that's totally fine, but something about it is just perfect to me. I honestly didn't know what this book was about before June. I had never heard of it. I then saw a photo of it and was like, yes, I will be buying that today. I don't know how, and I'm running out of time to buy it, but I am going to find it, and I did just that. I will say I loved it. However, I don't think it's for everyone because the writing is a little weird to me. So I really, really loved it. But I'm not gonna sit here and say everyone should read it because it is a little odd. But the basic premise is that there's this woman named Lizzie who is a Shakespearean professor at a New York university, and she is invited to go on a vacation to Italy for 6 weeks to help one of her friends write a screenplay or develop a film, a remake of Romeo and Juliet. So she's invited to go to Italy for 6 weeks because of her Shakespearean novel or knowledge. And once she's there, she meets this world famous chef named Dante. However, Dante does not like to be a celebrity chef. He does not care about the celebrityness that comes with being a chef. He just wants to cook, and he doesn't care about anything else. And so the two of them meet on the beach one day, and a connection arises, and you watch and you see. I mean, she's only in town for 6 weeks, so what will happen, I won't tell you. I will say that I sobbed at the end. I sobbed. Didn't expect to, and then I just, whoo, I bawled my eyes out. I thought it was gorgeous, beautiful, heartwarming, heartbreaking. But the reason why I say it's not for everyone is not because I think that I'm like so smart. I'm like, I just understand it and no one else will. Not at all. The writing is weird. I would actually describe it as like choppy waters because I'm kind of on this beach kick. But it felt like sometimes smooth sailing. Writing was really pretty, really liked it. And then we would get like a perspective from another character where you're just like, why? And then some conversations were just kind of like, why? And just kind of some arguments, and so it's not perfect. And if you read it and you end up not liking it, I totally understand. But it just kind of like came into my life when I needed a great distraction, and it was a beautiful distraction. So I really liked it. All right, next up, this was a book that was on my radar for the last year. I had finally gotten a copy and I read it this month, and I am so glad I did. And that is Under the Udala Trees. Dear heaven. As I just said with the previous book, that writing was a little choppy and a little strange. This writing, through and through, gorgeous, heartbreaking, wonderful. Such good writing. Like, just starting there, writing was wonderful. So the book is about this woman named Ijoma who was growing up in Nigeria, and so the first half of the book is more about her childhood and teenage years as she's discovering who she is, and then the second half of the book is more focused on her adult life. But basically, when Ijoma is younger, I think she's around 12, she is sent away to a new home with 2 new guardians, and while she's there, she meets another girl who the couple is taking care of. And then the two of them end up falling in love. And the family or the guardians find out about it, and they are so not supportive of this. And then the second half of the book is where Ijoma is trying to fit into the life that is expected of her and all the hardships that come with that. So this book is really sad at moments, and I would also say that if you think reading about parents or guardians that are not supportive of who you truly are, this might not be the best book to read right now, but it is so beautifully done. It is so sad. It is so hopeful as well. And the story itself was just such a beautiful novel to follow. I was like, anytime I put it down, I was just so ready to jump back in because I just needed to know if Ijoma ended up okay, and I just thought it was such a good story, and so I highly recommend it. All right, next up, again, I really got into like summary type of books. And so next I read People We Meet on Vacation. This was a book that I was really excited to read in April, I think, and then it just slipped away from me. And I'm so glad I got around to it because it was just such a fun romance. It was such a good distraction from real life. I got lost in the story. It was really sweet. The audiobook was really strong. And I just had a lot of fun with it. So it's about this girl named Poppy and her best friend named Alex, and the two of them go on a vacation every summer, and then they have a falling out during one of the summers, and so they don't really speak for a couple years, and then Poppy is feeling just like unsatisfied in life. She hasn't been truly happy since she lost her friendship with Alex, and so she invites him on another trip. And then it's kind of like these two best friends who haven't seen each other, who know how good it used to be, and now it's all awkward, and they're trying to figure out if they can even really be friends again. And so that's really fun. A lot of things go wrong on their vacation, so it's really funny. I will say there's also a really cool aspect where the author would go back to previous summers, like previous vacations that they had been on, right? So you'd get like a chapter on this summer when they're trying to be friends again, and then you'd get a chapter from like 10 summers ago, and then 9 summers ago, and then it would flip back and forth. And I ended up really loving that. At the end, it got frustrated because I was just I just wanted to see how it was all gonna wrap up. So I really liked it. All right, next I read Detransition Baby. Oh my God, first, the cover. Just take a moment with me and just bask in it. The greens, oh, I'm just in love. Let me read you a synopsis because I think that it just sets up the story so well. Reese almost had it all. A loving relationship with Amy, an apartment in New York City, a job she didn't hate. She had scraped together what previous generations of trans women could only dream of. A life of mundane bourgeoisie, I know that word, bourgeoisie comforts. The only thing missing was a child. But then her girlfriend Amy detransitioned and became Ames, and everything fell apart. Now Reese is caught in a self-destructive pattern, avoiding her loneliness by sleeping with married men. Ames isn't happy either. He thought detransitioning to live as a man would make life easier, but that decision cost him his relationship with Reese, and losing her meant losing his only family. Even though their romance is over, he longs to find a way back to her. When Ames's boss and lover, Katrina, reveals that she's pregnant with his baby and that she's not sure whether she wants to keep it, Ames wonders if this is the chance he's been waiting for. Could the three of them form some kind of unconventional family and raise the baby together? So that's the synopsis, and I just feel like it sets up the story so well. And I'd say that Reese is our actual main character, but you do get a lot of Ames, you get a little bit of Katrina, and so I'd say it's kind of like a trio of main characters as they navigate this new pregnancy and what it means to be a mother, and could this like 3-person family actually work? I just really, really liked it. I thought it was so good. All right, the next and final book of this wrap-up is 7 Days in June, which I'm so glad I started and finished in June, because it just felt so right. But wow, this was the book I was looking for, and I just didn't know how to describe it, because I love romance. I love it so much. But I've been kind of looking for deeper romances. Like, not like we just met and we're having fun and there's really silly moments. This book definitely made me laugh out loud, so it was definitely funny, but I was looking for that deeper, like soul-crushing, you're everything to me, even when it hurts type of romance. I just wanted a true soul-crunching romance. And I got that in 7 Days in June. Wow, did I get that. I thought it was so good. So this book is about our main lady named Eva, and Eva is an erotica writer who has a whole series of books named Cursed, which are about vampires and werewolves, and which I just thought was like, first of all, that's how like the book starts, and it's just so interesting and it's so fun. So Eva is our leading lady, and then we have Shane, who is like a serious writer, right? Like he wins like awards for his fiction, you know? And so the two of them end up at the same literary event, and there is an instant soul-crushing connection because they've already fallen in love 15 Junes ago. And they're, you know, I was really intrigued by what had separated them 15 years ago and why they hadn't seen each other since. And we find out why, and it's such a good reason why. Like, it's such a fascinating reason for why. Eva believes that she has a curse running in her family of all the women in her family. And so there's a bit of like mythology around her family and like this family curse, and she's trying to figure out what that really is and is it really real. I loved both of them so much, and I was rooting for both of them, and they've both been through so much over the last 15 years, and they're rediscovering each other, and they're so terrified of each other because they don't know if they should open up to one another, and I just thought it was so, so good. So if you're looking for a romance that has some deep issues and connections and like trust issues and just like all of the things, I thought this book was wonderful, and I'm actually like really excited to reread it one day, maybe in a couple Junes, because I believed in this love so much and I loved it. So that's the last book, and those are all of the books that I read in June. Again, let me know what was the best book you read in June, or if any of these books now sound super interesting. It was such a strong month of reading for me, and I'm so excited to see what July has in store. So yeah, I hope you had fun, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!